Hi guys, I'm back again. I'm gonna just wait a few seconds or minutes for a few people to join and then we'll start a conversation for today. I'm still getting over my cold, by the way, so you might hear me sniffing and stuff. My voice is still not back to normal, but I'm back to work tomorrow, so I'm gonna have to manage. So last week, it wasn't even last week, it was Wednesday I think, I did my first live. I was actually bored. I just thought, let me go on live and see what people are saying, and I had a lot of positive messages back, a lot of response and a lot of questions. So I'm thinking about doing this on a regular basis. I don't know, maybe once a fortnight or once a month, because I didn't realise there was that many people out there that wanted to talk about things, basically, share experiences, because we've all been through a lot and a lot of us have had similar stories, and I've come to realise that sharing it is a good thing because it makes people feel like they're not alone and that there's other people out there that are going through the same things. So I would like to make this a regular thing. Not that I've got that many things to tell, but just to talk to other people would be nice, to see how other people are feeling and to cheer people up as well. So what do you guys do for work? Do you work? How do you find working with your health condition? Do you find that the fatigue overtakes you when you get home? So if you go to work and come home, do you struggle to do your homely duties, i.e. washing up and all that stuff, cooking and cleaning? I struggle with that. So one of the things I wanted to talk about as well was dealing with surgery and or having a bag for the first time. If any of you want to share your experiences or ask any questions about that, we can talk about that today. So I'm talking about my first experience with my stoma. So the first time I had a stoma, I was 17 years old, and I'm 32 now, so it was a while ago. And I've had one ever since. The first time I had my stoma, my ileostomy, it was a loop ileostomy, and I was given that to rest my bowel, my large intestine, so I've got Crohn's. And the idea was to have that for a while, maybe 6 months or more, to rest my large intestine. However, I didn't get any better. In fact, I got worse. And so I think it wasn't even a year after, nearly a year afterwards, I had an emergency operation to remove my large intestine. And the hope was to wait for things to settle down, and then maybe I could have my small bowel connected back to my rectum. But then I had problems with my rectum, so my rectum was removed, and now I have a permanent ileostomy, so it can't be reversed. And people always ask me how do I feel about that, and to be fair, it doesn't really bother me because I've had it for so long now. It's just a part of me. So when I first had it, I've got lipstick on my teeth. When I first had it, when I was 17, I think ladies or girls used to ask, can I still have children? And the answer to that is yes, although it might make pregnancy and conceiving a little more difficult than normal, but there's no reason why I can't. And the boys used to ask, does it stop me from doing anything? And by that they mean sex, obviously. No, it doesn't stop you from doing anything. So I always used to find that funny, actually, how the girls would ask the same questions and the guys would ask the same questions. But yeah, it hasn't stopped me from doing anything. You can still travel. You can still long distance flights, I don't like flying anyway, so they're not fun for me. But with a stoma bag, it is difficult, but it's not. It is doable. So you just have to plan ahead. So I tend to go to the toilet or use the toilet right before I get on the plane, so that lengthens the time that I need to go to the bathroom. And those toilets on the planes are really small. I actually don't like plane toilets because even from when I was a child, you know, when you flush the toilet on a plane, you have that suction sound. I used to hate it. I used to be terrified of it. And funnily enough, when I was a child, I used to think that when you flush the toilet on an aeroplane, that it just drops out of the sky. Can you imagine if that actually happened? But anyway, yeah, aeroplane toilets tend to be really small. And the last flight I went on, I went with Thompson's, their new Dreamliner plane. And the way their toilets are situated is they've got one on either side, but they're next to each other. And the door in the middle that splits the two toilets can actually be opened to give you more room. So I was going to Jamaica. It's a long haul flight. It's about 10 hours. And I said to one of the flight attendants, can you open the door in between the two? Because it says on the door, if you need more space or if you're disabled or whatever, you can have the door opened between the two toilets, giving you more room to do what you need to do. So I said to the flight attendant, can you open the door in between the two toilets so I can use the bathroom? And he looked at me and just said, you'll fit in there. And I was like, it's got nothing to do about me fitting in there. It's about things that I have to do in there. I have a medical health condition, which means I need space to, you know, see to myself. And he was still challenging me, so my mum butted in, I think, at the time, as she usually does. And my mum's like, she's disabled, you can't see her disability, but she needs the space in the toilet. Can you open the door in between? So we just agreed to do it. And so it was a bit easier for me to empty my bag and whatever, because normally the cubicles are so small, you haven't got space to move your arms or anything. And that's just one thing I hate about travelling, but it doesn't make it impossible. So I think we just put up with those little things to do fun things like go on holiday. And speaking of holidays, I always feel much better in the sun. Do you guys? When there's just sunshine altogether, makes me feel better. Over here in this country, when it's dark all the time, it's got nothing to do with the temperature, I don't think. I think it's just the sunlight. So when it's dark over here, I tend to feel down and miserable and tired and lethargic. But when it's light all the time, like in the summer months when it gets light late, I tend to feel generally better. Hi. Do you guys feel better in the sun? I think most people do. So I've told myself that I need to go away at least once a year and to have something booked to look forward to. And that can be kind of hard as well, especially with our conditions, trying to book holidays and knowing if you're going to be well enough to go. Also, another thing with travelling is travel insurance. Oh my gosh. Do you guys find it difficult to get travel insurance when you go away? I have stopped telling them about my Crohn's disease, which I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but so what I tend to do when I go away is I just insure the things that, you know, like my luggage and whatever. And if you have an accident, like you break an arm or a leg doing something, you're covered. However, if you don't declare your health condition and you are ill on holiday, something health related, you're not insured. So just be careful with that, unless you want to insure your health condition, which you can. But I chose not to because my insurance would have ended up being more expensive than the holiday, which I don't see the point in that. It's just ridiculous. So I'm in the first year of diagnosis, so this is just fab thanks. What are you diagnosed with? Crohn's or ulcerative colitis? So yeah, I tend not to I tend not to insure my Crohn's when I go away. And I think if you know your own body and you're only going away for 2 weeks and you'll know you're definitely going to be okay in those 2 weeks, then it's not such of a big deal. So just don't tell them. I don't tell them. I just basically insure myself for accidents like breaking a leg and an arm, and if your luggage gets lost and all that stuff. Crohn's disease. Okay, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? So yeah, that's what I do now when I go away. In fact, I like to go away so often that I have yearly insurance, so I just let it renew itself every year. And I think it only cost me like 30 something pounds for the year. And that allows you to go away, I think it's 3 or 4 times for less than 30 days at a time, which suits me fine. So obviously you don't want to go away if you're really chronic in a flare up, because if you need treatment and if you're not insured, it will cost you a fortune basically. So just make sure that you're well in yourself if you're planning to go away. I know it's kind of hard to do things like that, but sometimes having something to look forward to can just make you feel a little bit better. It does me anyway. I like to have a holiday booked. Speaking of that, I don't have one booked at the moment, so I think I need to do something about that. So back to travelling with a bag. Yeah, not mentioned it for 12 things. Yeah, I don't think you have to. It's up to you whether you want to declare it or not on your health insurance, but just know it will add like over probably £1,000 to your insurance policy, which I think is unfair. I remember actually I went away a few years ago now, and my luggage was overweight, and they tried to charge me £200 extra for my luggage. And so my mum and I kind of told them that most of it was medical stuff, which a lot of it was medical supplies. So my medication, and because I've got an open wound, I have to carry dressings with me to clean my wound and redress my wound, and my ileostomy and stoma stuff. So a lot of it was medical supplies. So they reduced the overweight charge from £200 to £90, which was better than nothing. But in future you can pre-book these things, so you can book extra luggage, and if it's for medical reasons, I think they'll allow you to go over their limit if you explain that it's for medical purposes. But the only thing I find hard about travelling is if it's spontaneous travelling. Like, for example, a friend might say, oh, do you want to come somewhere for the weekend? And I'm reluctant to do that unless I know exactly where I'm staying and that I have my own bathroom, obviously, or there's a decent working bathroom available. Like, I don't think I would want to do things like festivals and stuff where you're just camping in a tent for days and there's no access to proper bathrooms. I don't think I'd want to do that. That doesn't sound like my idea of fun. So yeah, I like to stay in decent hotels where I know that the quality of the bathrooms are going to be good. Are any of you guys out there single? I am. How do you find dating with Crohn's disease or having a bag? I find it hasn't really bothered people that I've told. It don't really seem to bother them in the slightest. As long as, I think it boils down to confidence. I think I'm not the most confident person, but over the years I've kind of had the attitude of I don't care, basically. So it's your problem if you don't like it. If you don't like it, then see you later. You know, there's other people out there that will overlook things like your health condition and whatever. I think as well, because I'm so positive about it, it doesn't affect other people negatively. You know, if someone is constantly negative, it can rub off on other people. That's why I try to stay positive. It bothers me more than anyone, or they are too polite to say. You'll know if they are too polite to say, because they won't stick around if it bothers them. And quite frankly, you don't need people like that in your life. Yeah. I don't really, to be fair, if I'm going on a date, I don't push it in their face. So I don't bring up my health condition or anything unless it naturally comes up in conversation. So I don't keep going on about it, because if you make it into a big deal, it will be a big deal. So you have to kind of just pretend it's just a small part of you, which it might not be. It might be a large part of your life, but you can't let it overtake your conversation or your thoughts or anything like that. It's just a small part of you, like having a little scar somewhere. Just, dismiss it altogether. Don't concentrate on that. But yeah, most people I tell are very understanding about it, and ask a lot of questions, obviously, if they don't know anything about it. But it is actually becoming, people are starting to understand it a bit, not understand it, people are starting to become more aware of it, because I think it's been in the media a little bit more. And so a lot of people that I tell now have heard of it. I'd say about 80% of people that I tell have heard about Crohn's or colitis. Some of them still get it confused with irritable bowel syndrome. IBD and IBS are just two total different things, but some people confuse them altogether. So yeah, but I try not to make it into a big deal. Only been diagnosed in November, so I haven't found it a problem yet, but had trouble finding a man most of my life. Oh gosh. LOL, you're doing brilliant, thank you. For me, I had always been in a relationship since the age of 16. So a few years ago in 2013, I came out of a long-term relationship, and at the time I was a lot bigger because I had been on steroids, so I had a lot more weight on me. My first instinct wasn't to date, because it's the first time I've been single as an adult, so I wanted to basically find me again, getting used to being single again on my own. It took about a year for me to get used to it, and then I began to enjoy being single, like not having to think about other people when it comes to things like what you're going to eat or where you want to go or whatever. But then I began to get bored, so I started using a dating app actually, and I would go on dates every now and again, usually when I'm bored. And dating actually brought my confidence back, because people were out there actually didn't mind my health condition and didn't mind the way I looked and things. So it actually gave me a bit of confidence, and I don't think I'm ready to settle down just yet. I'm 32, but I think I'm actually reliving my 20s right now, because in my 20s I was quite ill for a lot of the time. And so now I'm 32, I'm still finding myself wanting to do things that I should have been doing in my 20s, i.e. clubbing. I don't do that often because all of my friends have children. Well, the people that I'd go out with have children, so I don't do that often. I still want to travel and I still want to do things that I should have been doing when I was ill at the time. So yeah, although in the back of my mind, because of my age, I'm thinking about children, but again, I'm not rushing into that, because I know that it'll be a big deal for me and my health condition. So I think the one thing I'm worried about most is the fatigue and the sleepless nights and being able to cope. Although I have a niece and a nephew that I love to bits, and when I babysit them I don't have any problem. Sometimes you just get energy from places that you didn't know that you had. So I think as well, I've been told that when they are your own children, it's different. So we'll see. I'm not rushing into anything like that. I'm still enjoying being just me at the moment. So yeah, is there anyone out there that there's questions that I want to ask actually. If you have a stoma or an ileostomy, colostomy, whatever, and you've been pregnant, how did you find your pregnancy and having a stoma? Like, did it get blocked? Were you told that you had to have a cesarean? And how many weeks were you when you delivered? Were there any complications? That's a lot of questions that I have about having children. That's probably why I've been putting it off. I've been told that I have to have a cesarean and I don't want one. I'm quite stubborn. I think the main reason for me not wanting one is just because I've seen them. I work in operating theatres and I've seen cesarean sections, and if I can avoid it, I will, put it that way. Although if it's detrimental to my health or my child's health, then obviously go for it. But if I had a choice, I would deliver naturally. I think I want to experience contractions and all that stuff. Don't must call me mad, but yeah, I want to experience all those kind of things. But I guess I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. So, what else can we talk about? What do people do for stress relief? Did you know stress is a big thing, a big deal with Crohn's and ulcerative colitis? You need to eliminate your stress levels. I'll tell you what I do. I've become quite organised in just everyday life, almost OCD actually. So when I've got work, I'm going back to work tomorrow, so what I normally do is make sure that I've got everything for work ready from the night before. So anything that I need, all my lunch and stuff is all ready. Clothes that I want to wear to work, that's not really a big issue for me because I have to change when I get to work. So I just try and be organised. I like that. It saves me a lot of stress. One thing I hate doing is shopping, food shopping and clothes shopping, and I just don't like being in the shop with other people. So I try and, if I need to go shopping, I try and do it in the middle of the night because I'm naturally a night person, and it's just so much easier for me to do it when the shop's empty. I have the whole shop to myself. You know, if you go to a 24-hour Asda or something, there's less people in the shop. You haven't got kids running around. You haven't got people just standing there in your way talking. And it sounds really mean, but all of that stresses me out. I just like to get in and out. What else do I do to relieve stress? I do things that I enjoy. So spending time with people that make you happy or make you laugh is good, especially if you're a bit depressed as well. I like to spend time with my family because I just can be myself around my family and just relax. Especially my niece and nephew, they make me laugh. So I'd go and chill around my sisters for a bit. Another thing I do to relieve stress is cut negative people out of your life. This sounds really harsh, but whether they are friends, associates, work colleagues, even family members, if they are negative, either cut them out altogether if you can, or just limit the time that you are around them, because negativity can rub off on you. And if they're always down and miserable and just, you don't have to be around all of that. And yeah, just try and cut them out of your life, because it's better for you to be positive than negative. And your mental status can also affect your health. So if you're depressed and down all the time, it can have a negative reaction on your health. So you want to try and keep yourself as happy as can be. Now that's really hard, but only you know what makes you happy. And for me, I'm the happiest when I'm healthy, because obviously when I'm not well, I can't get on with my life. So I try my best to keep myself in the best condition possible, because that's when I'm the happiest, because I can do things with my life. I do the same. I know my sores can go late when all are not there. Many family members I don't speak to because of my health. Sad, my ma is terrible. She is 80 and I have to stay away. Yeah, it is hard, but you have to do what's best for you. It sounds really selfish, but at the end of the day, when you're ill, are these people going to come and look after you? No. So you have to put yourself first and look after number one, because if you can't look after yourself, there's no, you're not going to be happy. You need to make sure that you can do little things to ensure that your health is on point, and that way your happiness can be as well. Things I do to keep myself well and out of hospital, and it's not easy, and sometimes if you're gonna flare up, you're just gonna flare. There's nothing you can do about it, but there are things you can do to lower your risk of having a flare, which is obviously stress. Keep your stress levels down. No smoking, people. No smoking. That's bad for you. You can drink depending on what medication you're on, but don't overdo it. I drink maybe socially, so I don't drink often. The last time I had a drink was at my work's Christmas party, so that was December. And the only time I tend to drink often is maybe if I'm on holiday. Other than that, I don't really drink. So yeah, keep yourself well, keep yourself hydrated, especially if you have a stoma. That's difficult as well. Things to do to reduce your chances of having a flare is just really get to know your body, what's normal for you, so that you can pick up when things are changing or going downhill. You wanna nip them in the bud, basically. So if you are feeling different or feeling that you're deteriorating, go straight away and ask for a blood test, or go and get things investigated, because the earlier you do these things, the more likely you are to get them sorted quicker, and the less downtime you would have, or the less time it will take for you to get back to your normal self, basically. And one thing I struggle with is I don't get colds often. And in fact, do you guys have the flu jab? I had the flu jab. I have to have it because of work, and I still got the cold. I don't get colds often, but when I do, I get them really bad. So I've been off the last 2 weeks with a cold. It started off with just a sore throat at work, and then I began coughing. And you should do these lives regularly. Let us know before. I'm thinking of doing that. I'm thinking of doing them maybe once a fortnight. I think once a week's too much, because I do other things. Like I have a YouTube channel that I've been neglecting, and I want to get back to doing that. So although these don't take too much preparation, I'll just switch the camera on. This is time that I could be doing or making other videos, which I want to get back to. And what I might do in the future is, if I do lives, I might actually record them and put them on my YouTube channel, because I try to share my last live, and obviously you can't because it's in a closed group, so I can only share it within the group. Also, I have a Facebook page that I'm trying to grow. So my Facebook page is I've linked it in the top of this video actually. If you guys like my page, when I get enough followings, I'll probably do my lives on there, because that way I can share them with people that aren't in this group. And I think I want the general public to see these discussions as well, because it raises more awareness, and it helps other people to understand what we go through. So I think although we're talking amongst each other about our health condition and how it affects us, I think other people need to hear it and understand it, and that way they'll understand us more. Do you guys agree with that? Or are you guys really private? Do you not want any of your conversations shared? I don't really care, to be honest, because if someone sees it and understands it, if that's only one person, to me that's better than nothing. Because I think with our health condition, so many things are hidden, and so many of us don't talk about it, that it's hard for other people to actually understand what we're going through. So I think it's important for other people to see these things and to hear about these things, because there are a lot of us that suffer in silence and don't mention it. How do you guys find keeping friendships with your health condition? If I'm totally honest, I don't have friends that I go out and socialise with, because I find them high maintenance. For example, a lot of the times when things are pre-planned, for example, a meal or something, and it becomes to the actual day, and sometimes I don't feel like going, and I'll cancel, and friends don't understand that. So for me, it's hard work. I am from the US, and the groups here are not informative. I have been in this group for some time now. I learned so much here. Oh, hi. Where in the US are you from? Craig Jones, hello. Okay. So, yeah. So that's why I don't try not to keep friends, but I don't go out of my way to keep them. If they're good friends, they'll understand that you have a health condition, and real friends that you have, you can not see them in ages or speak to them in ages, but when you do, it's like they've always been there. That's what real friends are like. For me, I have one or two people that I can speak to if I need to, but my closest people to me is my sister and my cousin. So obviously my age group, and they understand me totally. Well, I wouldn't say totally, but they understand me more than anyone else. Hi Andrea, I know what you mean. People giving up on you. Yeah, I've just, that doesn't bother me anymore, because the less people that I have around me, the less work I need to do to keep up relationships. That sounds really bad, but I don't have the time to keep other people happy. I need to focus on myself, basically, and keeping myself happy and healthy. That's enough work for me to do. So, yeah, when it comes to your health condition as well, it's kind of a second job for me to, hi, hope you're doing well. I love my company too. I agree with you 100%. I do like my company, but sometimes I get to a state where I just need a different scenery. So, yeah, you have got it on spot. Yeah, it is hard, but you have to prioritize yourself. So you can do those other things. You can have friends and keep up with what they're doing, but as long as you're keeping yourself first is most important. And if you do have friends, they need to understand that you're not like them. You can't just neglect yourself. You have to look after yourself, and sometimes doing that can be a second job, looking after yourself, especially when it comes to doctors and hospital appointments and all that stuff. Keeping up with all of those can be a second job, because I find that you have to chase things up, because no one's going to care about your health condition as much as you, because it affects you. Therefore, you need to kind of be organising other people. So you need to be phoning your doctor if you're waiting on something, to remind them that you're still waiting, or it's just little things. It's just being on the ball and keeping up to date with certain things. I keep a like a folder with all my medical stuff in it. So if there's an appointment coming up that I'm going to see a specialist or something, I will write down certain questions, because when you get there, your mind goes blank, or you forget to ask certain things. So when you go into important appointments where you only see a doctor like once every 3 months or something, make sure that you go prepared and got all the things that you want to ask written down, anything that's bothering you. A lot of people on here talk about fatigue, and doctors don't recognise it, which they don't, and I think that's a bad thing, because even if you are otherwise well, fatigue can really restrict your life and what you want to do. So most people can go to work and come home and do other things at home I can't do that. I find myself so tired that I don't want to do anything apart from sleep. And even when I've slept 12 hours, I wake up still tired. And I don't think other people get that. Even doctors don't understand that. And I was once working with a doctor, and she said her husband researches Crohn's disease or inflammatory bowel disease and fatigue. And she said, I've never heard this before. She said the reason why we get fatigued is that in our muscles we have fatty deposits, and that's to do with something to do with IBD. And so when we're walking, it can just doing simple tasks, our body can feel like we've run a marathon, so we're physically tired. So a normal person can go to work and be walking around and come home and feel a little bit tired, but for us we'll be absolutely exhausted because our body's working extra. I'm really struggling the past 9 weeks with fatigue, literally bedbound. Is there anything you can take? Do you know? So if you're feeling really fatigued, are you feeling lightheaded and dizzy? Because if so, that can be anemia. So if you're feeling fatigued, I would suggest asking for a blood test and ask them to check all of the levels of anything that could make you fatigue. So that would be your iron levels, your HB levels, your ferritin as well. Things like vitamin D, vitamin B12. There's a lot of things that can cause you to feel tired. But unfortunately, with IBD, feeling tired is just a symptom. So it's just one of those things. So the only thing you can do is just to try and keep on top of it with your vitamins. Also, I've heard some people say exercise gives you energy. That would depend on what is causing the fatigue in the first place. So, because you don't want to be exercising if you're going to be burning energy that you need. It depends on the person. If exercising helps you, then fair enough. But I think you just have to trial and error. Yeah, so if you're anemic, there's a few different things you can have. There's injections, vitamin B12 injections, there's iron tablets, and there's iron infusions you can have. Yoga helps, yeah. That's a form of like meditation, isn't it? Stretching and yeah, because I think yoga might be a good one because you're not burning too much. It's just literally stretching and relaxing, so that might be a good one. Yeah. Iron tablets, folic acid, vitamin D, vitamin B complex, but go easy on the iron as it can bung you up. Yeah, thanks for that, Craig. Yeah, all of those I've explained before have helped. Yes, helps stress. Yes, stress is highly important as well. We've been talking about stress. No stress, guys. What do you guys do to relieve stress? I like to listen to music, depending on what mood I'm in. I love listening to music. I also like to eat certain foods when I'm stressed. So whatever I'm craving at the time, maybe chocolate or whatever. That's probably not the greatest of ideas, but if it helps, it helps. For me as well, I also like to watch certain things. So if I'm stressed, I'd like to watch something that will make me laugh. Laughing's good for you as well, so lots of laughing should be prescribed. So I like to watch stand-up comedy or just films that have comedy in them. That's another one. Also, do you guys know anybody else with the same condition that you have? Is there anyone you can talk to? I don't actually think I know anyone else with it, to be fair. Do I? Not in person. So I don't think there's anyone that I see on a regular basis that is going through the same thing I'm going through. Although when I was in hospital, I made a friend with someone called Annie. I don't know if she's in this group or not. I'll tag her in this video afterwards. But her name's Annie. I'm sure she won't mind me saying her name. And we met in hospital, and our stories were so similar that we became friends. I think this is how similar our stories were. We had the same doctor at the children's hospital, but when we met, we were in an adult hospital. She was like 2 years behind me, so all of the operations that I had, she had, and we had had all of the same or similar complications. And she's also in healthcare as well. She's a nurse now. And we met, the way we met is she was in the bed opposite me. And at the time, I saw she was upset at times. And so I just went over to her and started talking. And that's how we became friends. I don't see her often, but we talk every now and again. Actually, I do want to go and see her because she had a little girl a year ago. And her little girl's gone through a lot as well, had a lot of health conditions, but she's looking a lot better now, which I'm happy for her. So, yeah, she's one person that I know understands totally what I'm going through. And she used to come to me for advice, but I think in the future I'll be coming to her because I think she's experienced more things than me now in terms of being pregnant and having children and that stuff. So I actually need to go and visit her. I've been keep saying I'm gonna go and visit her, but she's been so busy with the little one and stuff. I might message her after this live actually. So yeah, friends like that are important. If you've got someone that understands exactly what you're going through, you can kind of help each other out. And even if you just want to moan about something to each other, you know, because we all find certain things difficult, and it's nice to talk about things to other people. But anyway, on a positive note, what do you guys enjoy doing for fun? I like to travel, but obviously I can't do that as often as I'd like to because it costs money, and I'm trying to save at the moment. If I had my own way, I would go on holiday maybe every other month. I would. If you guys work, how do you find your is your work, do they support you with your health condition? Do they allow you adequate toilet breaks, or if you're on a special diet and stuff, or timings, your shift timings, the amount of days that you work? Let me tell you a story actually. When I was a student, I was working 37.5 hours a week, but occupational health had agreed that I could split them over 4 days. So I used to work Monday, Tuesday, have Wednesday off to rest, and work Thursday and Friday. So although I had the Wednesday off, I was still doing my full-time hours. And as a student, the hospital where I had all my placements is the hospital where I applied for a job. Now, in my interview for my job, the manager said she can't offer me full-time hours because of my health condition. And I said, why not? Because I've been doing full-time hours as a student, so what's the difference? And she said, well, I can't guarantee you full-time hours in 4 days because I wanted to have the Wednesday off still, just because breaking up my week and having a Wednesday off really helped me out because I was able to rest my joints, and because I still have a lot of joint problems and fatigue. So working 2 days and then having a day off to rest and then working 2 days really suited me at the time. So she said to me, I can't offer you the 37.5 hours because I can't guarantee that I can get you those hours over 4 days, which was funny because I was doing them as a student. So I said, okay, I agreed to having to do just the 34 hours a week over the 4 days. And after I qualified and started working, it must have been about 3 months into my job, and they started asking me if I can do overtime. So I said, no, sorry, I'm not allowed. I'm only allowed to do 34 hours a week. That's what I'm contracted to, so I can't do any overtime for you guys. And then what I used to do is on my day off, go and work agency shift where I would get paid more if I'd worked in the hospital where I was supposed to be working that extra day. I'll be paid less. So, and what's funny, Neil, what's funny is I bumped into my manager whilst I was doing an agency shift, and she was doing an agency shift in the same another hospital. And she goes, "Oh, I didn't know you did agency work." I said, "Yeah, on my day off I do an agency shift just to make up some hours." Well, she can't complain about that because she's the one that says, "I'm only going to offer you 34 hours." So I refuse to do overtime in that hospital because I don't get paid overtime like everybody else. Because for me to get paid overtime, I'd have to work up to 37.5 hours first before I get paid overtime. So for everyone else, if they'd done over their hours, they get time and a half, whereas I didn't because I was on less hours. So I used to just take my day off and go and work elsewhere. I'd get more money that way. So it kind of backfired on her. That did. That's how it was just, yeah. So do you guys, what do you guys do for work? Do you work in an office? Do you work on your feet? Do you work from home? I think my ideal job would be to work from home, although I think that would it would disrupt my routine a bit. So I don't think I would have a proper routine if I worked from home. Hi, Margaret. So yeah, have you guys got any funny stories? Because I like to tell stories. I kind of make jokes out of my health condition as well. It's the only way that I can get on with my life. If you have to learn to laugh at it, otherwise you will cry. For example, this was years ago when I had my bag probably about a year, and my boyfriend at the time and I were arguing about probably something silly, and he said to me, "You're full of shit, you are." And I said, "No, actually, you're the one that's full of shit. Mine comes out in a bag." And then we both just burst out laughing. That just came out of nowhere, but things like that make me might just make me be a bit more positive, because I always turn things into jokes. Like, you have these people always talk about certain things and you just turn them into jokes all the time. I like to do that as well. So yeah, what time is it now? The time. Okay, half 4. I don't know how long I've been on here. Can someone tell me how long I've been going? I think it's probably about 40 minutes or so. I'm a social care worker. I am on my feet the whole shift. I think my job making things worse. In what way? How do you think your job's making things worse? Is it with your fatigue, or are you stressed at work? My job can be stressful, but I don't let it stress me out, just because I know that it will make me ill. So if people always say, "How come you're so calm and laid back?" And it's because I can't afford to get stressed. Yeah, if something is out of your hands and you can't physically change it, there's no point in stressing about it. So I try and stay positive, and I'm very calm and laid back. I don't let things stress me out at all. Yeah, work can be hard, and I think what's hard for me is that because I do agency work at the moment, I don't get sick pay. So the last 2 weeks I was off, I've not been paid at all. But it doesn't, I kind of prepare for that because I do agency work, so I have to set aside money in case I am sick, that I can afford to take time off work, basically. How do you guys find things like, do any of you guys get mortgages out there? Do you declare your health on your mortgages? Do you have payment protection on your mortgage, and does that cover your health condition? Because I have a mortgage at the moment, but I don't have I don't have any payment protection on it, so if I became ill for a long time, I don't know what I would do. You're sick at the moment and get no pay. So how are you coping? How long have you been off sick? Yeah, that's a hard one as well. I think that's why I'm trying to do other things to get other income, so that even when I'm sick at home, I can still make an income. I think that's important for me. Although I do love the job that I do, I know that I can't constantly do it all the time, because there are times where I am sick and I can't physically go to work. Yeah. So I just want to, if anyone's watching here that has saw my last live or messaged me about it, can I just say thank you guys for all of the messages that you sent me. Some of them are really nice messages, really positive messages as well. Wondering, how about life insurance? Is Crohn's classed as a critical illness? I haven't quite asked about life insurance. I have asked about medical insurance. So with the medical insurance I asked, they don't cover pre-existing illnesses, so they wouldn't cover my Crohn's, which is kind of the reason why I wanted medical insurance. But however, she did say if you take out medical insurance now, they wouldn't cover pre-existing illnesses, but they would cover anything new. So if you were, I don't know, diagnosed with something new, they would cover all of that for you. This is my first week. I'm going for an operation once the medical team have a discussion about me, but I don't know when that will be. I will just have to deal with it financially. I have came to the conclusion that my health comes first. Exactly, the health does come first, but also you can phone your doctors and tell them that you are not getting sick pay, that you need to be seen urgently, because you need to get better. You need your operation, you need to recover, you need to get better so you can get back to work. So there are little things that you can do. Just keep at them, and let them know that it's urgent for you to get back to work, because if you just let them be and let them drag their heels, they will. If you're on them all the time, they will get things sorted sooner. That's what I do. I try to anyway. What was I talking about before that question? Yeah, medical insurance. Yeah, so the medical insurance that I spoke to, they wouldn't insure me. Thank you, I will do that. Yeah, the medical insurance people that I spoke to wouldn't insure my Crohn's, which I thought, what's the point in me having insurance if they're not going to insure the thing that I need them insuring the most. But yeah, they said they will cover any new health conditions. And in terms of life insurance, I'll have to query that one. I'll have to find out, because again, I think as long as it's not Crohn's related, they might insure you. I'm not sure, don't quite relate. I'd have to research that one, because I think if you do have a health condition that's not life-threatening, they should still cover you. Although Crohn's itself doesn't threaten your life, but people can get complications and become very ill. So I think we are higher risk, and a lot of the medications that we take as well can put us at a higher risk of getting cancer, especially the immunosuppressants, things like azathioprine and all those kind of drugs are they're the same drugs that people take when they've had transplant surgery, so that their organs don't get rejected. But the medications that they put us on also make us at higher risk of getting cancer. So you need to bear that in mind with things like sunscreen when you're on holiday, or even in this country there's a lot of sun. you need to use sunscreen and just look after yourself that little bit better and be a bit more vigilant of things as well. So if you notice things that aren't normal, you need to get them checked out. Just bear that in mind. Yeah, in terms of mortgage and payment protection insurance, I haven't asked about that because I'm not sure they will cover me either. It's a bit unfair, isn't it? Because people that actually need this cover can't get it. Has anyone out here been on PPI? Is it called PPI, or the old disability living allowance? Longevity is shortened. I am 25 years now with Crohn's, and it plays a terrible toll on your body. Yes, it does play a terrible toll on your body. I think mostly, not even just the Crohn's itself, but all of the medication that we take, the side effects from those medications can take a toll on your body as well. So it's not just the symptoms of the Crohn's, it's all of the medications. I quite worry about this one. All of the medications that we take, if you think about it, none of them are natural things. They're all chemically made in a lab. So all of them have side effects. And I do worry about what all these medications can do to your body long term. More awareness now than ever. Yeah, there is more awareness, but I still don't think people understand it a lot. I think people just think that it's a stomach problem, and it's a lot more than that. It can affect your whole body. Like, I've had my hair falling out, my eyes, my eyesight changes, my teeth, I've got a dead bone in my jaw. It affects a lot of things, my skin, it does affect you from head to toe. People don't understand this, and most of the things that are affected you can't see. So, yeah. Does anyone get people challenging them about certain things? So if you're using a disabled toilet or a disabled parking space or anything like that, I get that quite a lot. Not so much now. I was registered disabled, but they decided that I'm not disabled anymore for some reason, which is, it's annoying, and everyone keeps telling me that I should reapply or appeal against it, but I just don't have the energy to fight it, and it's very degrading for someone to sit in an office and just look at you and tell you that you are not disabled when actually in fact you are. I think because it's called IBD, people assume it's IBS. I don't use the initials, I say Crohn's. Yeah, exactly. People do confuse IBD with IBS, and that's totally different. And it's one of the reasons why I explain this on my YouTube channel, that IBS is a lot more common. I think 1 in 5 people suffer with IBS at some point, and IBS can come and go. It's not a constant thing. And IBS is triggered by some kind of food intolerance or something that you've eaten, something that you've had a reaction to, which upsets your stomach, basically. Whereas IBD, both forms, Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, is not something that you've done to yourself. It's from within, so it's your own body attacking you. It's totally different to IBS. So you can't just stop eating one food or whatever triggers it and it will go away. It's not going to go away. So, and trying to explain the difference between the two to people sometimes nerve-wracking. So no, I don't use the word IBD either. I just say Crohn's disease. And when I ask, I say it's an autoimmune disease, which it is. So people understand a little bit more that way. What was I talking about before? Now I keep going off track. Yeah, so it can affect a lot of places, your body, even your teeth and stuff. So make sure you go to dentist a lot and get your teeth sorted out. I've had to have a bone density scan as well, because I've been on the steroids a long time and they'd affected my bones. Yeah, Yeah, yeah. A lot of the time, people say, "Oh, you can cure your condition by not eating certain foods, or if you become a vegetarian or vegan or whatever, it might help symptoms, but it's not going to cure your condition." Um, yeah, people think that we've done it to ourselves, but it's not true. I got ESA without a face-to-face assessment, but got turned down for PIP. I have intermediate colitis, lupus, and brain aneurysms, all of which affect me daily. I've asked for appeal and waiting. I'm waiting on an appeal date. I feel that there's people who get it who aren't as bad as myself. The system is all wrong. Yeah, the system is very wrong. I think what they base it on is if you need outside help. So if you're not dependent, then you get this extra help, which is totally not fair, because you can be suffering with a load of conditions that affect you daily, but you can still be self-caring with these conditions. I was previously on the old DLA, and when they switched it to PIP, I had to go for an assessment, and they just told me that I didn't need it, even though currently I have an open wound, which I clean and dress myself. I have an ileostomy bag. I have dead bone in my hips and knees, which means that it can be painful for me, especially when it's cold, to walk. And they told me, "You're not disabled anymore," and I said I don't need extra assistance. So I was told to appeal against it, but in all honesty, I just didn't have the energy to fight it at the time. It was becoming stressful for me, and I just didn't want the extra stress. Funnily enough, when I was in an infusion clinic. I go for infusions once a month, and the manager of the job centre was having an infusion himself, and he told me that I should apply for it again. And when they turn you down, just to keep appealing against it until you get to a point where you have to go and visit a doctor or somebody that knows medical issues. He said it is a long process, but if you persist at it, he said something about 70% of cases that go to the tertiary appeals or something get overturned, and people actually get what they want. So I don't even have the energy for that. It's really long-winded. The forms to fill out are so long-winded. He also said there's a website you can go to that tells you how to fill out these forms. That's exactly what happened to me. I got the low rate of DLA. It helped me pay taxes to work. Then they changed it to PIP and went for an interview and lost it. Yeah, that's what happened to me. That's exactly what happened to me. So, because I work as well, they assumed that because I work, that obviously I don't need help. It's too stressful to appeal. It is stressful, and I think, I don't know, as well, I think what made me not want to appeal, even though people keep telling me that I should, is that because before, when I was on it, I was getting mobility and a car and stuff, and I've now had to buy my own car because they took it off me. But I think with me, I used to get challenged a lot because you can't see my health condition and people see me and I look normal on the outside. I always used to get challenged when I use the disabled space. I'll tell you a funny story in a minute. And so part of me thought that if I appeal against this and it goes through, will there be people out there watching me? You know, you see these programs where they catch out people that are lying and they're not really disabled. They park in a disabled bay and they get out of their car and they walk. I think to myself, because I look like these people that are healthy, is there going to be people out there just keeping tabs on me and what I'm doing to make sure that I'm actually disabled, even though they can't see my disability? Yes, I work too, but it helped me to do less hours and use it for taxes. Yeah, so my car helps me to be independent. It helps me to go to work, because there's no way in hell I would get up and go and stand at a bus stop to go to work. I struggle to get up as it is, never mind to get up and go and get on use public transport. It's not going to happen. So I had no choice but to take out a loan to buy a car. Which it is what it is. Other people have to pay for their cars. It's annoying when people just look at you and judge you. It's a catch-22 for us. We are too ill to hold down a full-time work, but not ill enough for help. I think we are ill enough for help. I think if we took one of these people and had them live with us for a week or a few weeks, they would understand us a bit more. You can't just judge someone just by looking at them and asking them if they can touch their toes and stupid stuff like that. It's about how that money or whatever it is you had helped us with daily living. Because for me, I have to buy other things with to do with my wound and stuff. It cost me a lot to get all the stuff that I need to for my wound and things, and they don't look at things like that. You do have extra costs that you incur because of being ill or disabled. For example, the amount of times I have to take a day off work, which I don't get paid for, to go to hospital appointments, doctor's appointments, and all of this. And there's no way I would get on the bus to go to all of these places. So that's why I took the decision to take a loan out to buy myself my own car. There's no way I'd go anywhere if I didn't have the car. And in actual fact, these things help us get to work, which means we are able to pay into the tax system, and therefore we should be able to claim for these things if we really need them. What do you find is the best food drink to consume when you're in a flare? I haven't had a flare for a while, so my main issue is just my open wound at the moment. But everybody's different, so I couldn't tell you what worked for me might not work for you. So the only thing I can suggest is if you're in a flare, is to keep, I keep saying this, I must have said it every time, to keep a diary of what you eat and drink and how you're feeling that day, how many times that you go to the toilet, and just how it affects you, how you're feeling, so you can maybe look back and see what foods are making you feel unwell and what foods don't. For me, when I was really ill, I couldn't eat dairy stuff, so milk, and I couldn't touch it. But now I'm much better. I can eat most things. Yeah, the PPI system is not. I think if you really believe that you should have it, I think you should apply for it again. And when they keep turning you down, keep appealing against it. Also, if you have a doctor or consultant that you see regular, ask them to put in a word or some evidence on your behalf and how it affects your daily life. I know that's more work for them and they're busy people, so you'd have to stress to them a lot that you need help with this, that they're not giving you what you're entitled to. Yeah, the funny story that I wanted to tell you was I once was going to the shops to get some stuff, and I parked in the disabled bay with my disabled badge in the window, but because my I drove into the space, so the badge was at the front of the car and the people behind couldn't see the badge. I got out of the car and two people pulled up behind me, behind the disabled space, and there were two deaf people, and they were showing me their disabled badge, and I tried to tell them that I'm disabled too, I'm allowed to park here, and they kept arguing with. I don't know how they can argue with me when they were deaf. They can't. That's an unfair argument. They couldn't hear my side of the story, so they were signaling to me that they were disabled, that I had to move the car. So the only way that I could show them that I was disabled was to walk back to my car and show them my disabled badge. And when I showed them, they just drove off. So basically, because I don't, but they should have known better though, because they're deaf people, they obviously don't look disabled. So people, they probably get the same problems. So they should have known better than to challenge someone who's in a disabled bay like that. But anyway, I have thought about applying, but really like working too. If I could just work less. Listen, if you're honestly disabled, whether you work or not, that should not make a difference. In fact, I believe that if you're disabled and they can help you, assist you, and get you out to work, that benefits them more than because what they're doing, they are encouraging people to quit their job and sit at home and say I can't work to get this benefit, whereas they should be people that are struggling to get to work or go to work should be more eligible to get this payment because it helps them get to work, if you know what I mean, and they're paying tax into the system. So it's not about whether you work or not, because if you're truly disabled, whether you work or not doesn't change the fact that you are disabled. That's what these people don't understand. All right, yeah. So that totally frustrated me. So when I said to them, yes, I do work, and I work agency because it means that I can work when I want to. When I'm not well, I don't work. They just looked at me and said, oh, she works, she doesn't need it. But in actual fact, it's not true. People that, just because you work doesn't take away any of the things that we are suffering with. So, and everybody's different. Two people could be going through the same thing, and one person could decide that they can't work with it, they can't function, and another person could decide that they want to work. So it's totally, everybody's individual. They can't treat everyone the same. Even my GP said I should appeal against it. I just don't have the time, and I feel it makes me feel really anxious going through the whole process. I feel like I'm being watched. I feel like I'm being judged. I feel it's really degrading. It really is degrading, and it's an unfair process. I want to start talking about that now because it's getting me pissed off. You know what? I've just said to myself that I want to do other things with my life. I want to get to a point where I am financially comfortable with myself, so I don't have to worry about all these little things. And I would like to do a job where I can just decide. Leaves you feeling like a criminal. Yeah, exactly that. It does make you feel like a criminal. It makes you feel like you're guilty or that you're hiding something. It shouldn't be them that decides anyway. It should be our medical team. I totally agree with that. There is a petition that you can sign that I'll have to link it in the group afterwards, but if you scroll down in this group later on, there's someone that's put up a petition that you can sign to make sure that it's medical people that assess us for these benefits, not just ordinary Joe Blogs. Yeah, so it's a medical team or doctor that sees you and assesses you. Because I thought when I was in my interview, they asked you to do certain things like, can you, I don't know why they ask you silly questions. Can you bend and touch your toes? Can you stand out of a chair? And that doesn't affect our daily life. Like, I actually felt like taking off my clothes and showing her exactly what was my issue, but obviously I shouldn't have to do that. Yeah. So guys, I think if you really struggling and really think that you should be getting this PIP, whatever it is, just keep applying for it and keep appealing against it, even if you have to go to your local MP and ask them to help you out. I should take my own advice really, but just yeah, it should be a medical team that does it. So yeah, but I start talking about that now because I think it's negative. It's impacting me negatively. Let's talk about things that are more positive. Yeah. So I think I will do these. Yeah. You're welcome. I think I will do these lives more often. Once a week I think is too much for me. So maybe once a fortnight. And if you follow me on social media, I will communicate with you guys that way, and I will let you guys know when I'm going live again at some point. Hopefully probably about 2 weeks from now, so 2 weeks from today I'll probably go live again. Yeah, that's it really. I think I'm gonna call it a night because I need to go and get my stuff ready for work. You guys can share this video if you like. Share it for me so that other people get to see. I don't think we can share it outside of this group actually, which is why I've decided to create my own Facebook page. So I've linked it at the top of this video. If you guys can like my Facebook page or my Instagram and stuff, because I want to eventually move these lives over to there, so that way I can share them with the general public, so they can see and hear about these discussions, because I don't think people really understand what goes on in our lives at all, and that's what I would like to do. I will be doing some more YouTube videos as well, and I think my next video will be about depression and chronic illness, because the two go together. So there's something called functioning depression, so which means a person can function normally, go to work and do the normal stuff they have to do, and still be in depression. So once they get home, they cut themselves off from society and, you know, go into a depressive state. And that's more common in chronic illness because of the things that we go through, pain and you know, having time off work, financial responsibilities, and all of that stuff can make people feel down. So I think I'm going to do a video on that next and go from there. So it's been a while since I posted on my YouTube channel and I want to get back to it. So guys, I think I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. Share it for me and I will see you in 2 weeks.